Welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon. Guys and girls, I'm a retired New York City police detective with 20 plus years of law enforcement. If you like all things true crime related from the police perspective, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. The subscribe button is free and the thumbs up button is free. I was just laughing a little bit because I saw somebody in the chat said, "Hey, did I miss it?" I think it's cute when people are like so excited that we're getting ready to go live and we're waiting. You know, sometimes I can't go live right at the exact second. And sometimes people say, "Oh, did I miss it?" But so thank you for that. I want to say a special thank you to the Patreon supporters, the channel members, and all the folks who positively engage in all of these live streams. You guys are what makes this a great place. And I can't say enough good about all of the people who positively engage. And again, my moderators, the replay viewers, all of you folks who are in on the live streams, we love and respect you. Ed Wallace is doing okay. He's in Africa. He's training the African troops over there, kind of local police, so to speak. He's doing some training over there and teaching, and he's doing well. For those of you who are inquiring about Ed Wallace, he's on a different time zone, so he's not always able to come live with us here on these chats. But don't worry, he's going to be back in the swing of things, and we'll have him back joining us in no time. So today's video, we're going to be speaking about the Uvalde school police chief, Pete Arredondo. He is under intense scrutiny, and as he should be, for cowardice in the line of duty, for the inaction that he took on that faithful day over 2 months ago in Uvalde school, Robb Elementary. 19 little children, little school kids, slaughtered at the hands of a crazed gunman, and 2 teachers and countless others terrorized for the rest of their lives. We've heard interviews and seen people speak about the horror of that day. And you know, when we go and look at the videos of the police and their inaction, that was their lack of action that was taken that day, there's no excuse for it. There's no defending it. There's no speaking about it. There's no any good way to speak about it. It's horrific. We are all devastated, heartbroken as Americans, as good human beings, as just good souls. We cannot be happy with the outcome and the lack of action by the men and women of law enforcement who are supposed to be out there protecting. You know, the conversations of little children calling 911 and just our imaginations and thinking about what happened that faithful day. It's heartbreaking, it's heart-wrenching, it's sickening, it's all of the above. So the school board has come and intervened and convened, or whatever you want to call it. The school superintendents, the school board, called it a meeting, and there was family at this meeting, family of the victims. This was a very, very difficult thing to put together and talk about. I have a small clip that I'd like Josh, who is kind enough to join us here, to play for us. And this is just a little bit of some of the parents and some of their frustration. And rightfully so. Sergeant George is here, Dawn Marie, all of the folks who are joining. Thank you for being in on this live. This is not something that, you know, we feel that we want to. It's something that you don't even feel like you want to show, but you have to kind of show it. You have to show it. And I wanted to play this little clip. Josh, if you can, cue that up, load that up, and we're going to let you guys listen to just this short little report. It's going to go over the school board meeting and some of the parents, and they voiced, you're going to hear words like, "You're time to man up." You're going to hear words like, "You hired trash." You're going to hear a lot of, you know, angry words, and rightfully so, from all the parents. Josh, if you could cue that up and play that.
The chief of Uvalde Schools Police, Pete Arredondo, could be out of the job by the weekend. The community has been calling for his firing in the wake of the massacre at Robb Elementary. We're joined live now by Xavier Walton in Uvalde. Xavier, families have been telling the school board to fire him or for him to resign.
Mia, it appears the school board has heard that message loud and clear, but the families that you're about to hear from say it's too little too late.
My son died 2 months ago as of Tuesday. 2 months ago. And you haven't done nothing.
Brett Cross has had enough. On Monday at the special school board meeting.
All right, well, I'll tell you this. If he's not fired by noon tomorrow, then I want your resignation and every single one of you board members, because y'all do not give a damn about our children or us. Stand with us or against us, because we ain't going nowhere.
By Wednesday, the school board making this big announcement recommending Pete Arredondo's termination.
Now they're just scrambling because they're scared.
Is that enough for you?
No, hell no. Hell no. Because now they're just doing that to save their ass. And that's all it is to it.
The decision comes after the Texas House Committee investigating the Robb Elementary School massacre released a 77-page report detailing multiple systemic failures. Those failures ultimately cost lives.
We have to clean house. These people don't know what they're doing.
That's Vincent Salazar. He wears a button for his granddaughter, Layla.
I was afraid of grandpa.
Her life was cut short at Robb Elementary on May 24th.
This hurt that these parents have, and I have, that's not going to be cured.
That hurt is fueling the fight for Vincent and Brett, too.
I'm heartbroken. I'm devastated, obviously. But I have to fight. I have to fight for Uzziah. I have to fight for my other children that are still here that no longer get to tell their brother that they love them. I have to fight. So I'm pissed off right now. Nobody wants to take accountability because they know that it's an admission of guilt. You know what? Man up.
Man up. Meantime, that special school board meeting is set for Saturday right at 9 a.m. It could get interesting, though, if Pete Arredondo chooses to resign before then. We reached out to Pete Arredondo's attorney. We never heard back. Reporting live here in Uvalde, Xavier Walton, KHOU 11 News.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you for that. Again, folks, I have to say this. When that father stood up in front of that microphone, it was so difficult for him to say what he said because he was talking about his son who was brutally murdered at the hands of a crazed gunman. But he said, are you going to stand with us or stand against us? We're going to be here. We are not going anywhere. So I will have to say this. They will, after pressure. Why in God's name did it take 2 months and pressure from these families for them to take action? It was clear and evident. Once the video was made available, which, we got it in the public, we just saw it recently, but all the legislators, all of the politicians, all the people behind the scenes, the board members, they all got to see that video before we did. And we got to see it first before the families did. So they've done this whole thing and they've handled this whole situation ass backwards. And these parents have every right to be pissed off, to be angry and mad as hell. And I don't blame them, because this is a parent's worst nightmare. And the way that these legislators and politicians, these dirty, filthy politicians, the way that they're handling this is despicable and disgraceful. It's disgusting on so many different levels. I am so fired up after watching these reports and listening to this stuff. It just makes me mad as hell. Again, I have a second video. It's a little bit longer. Josh, I want you to cue that up if you can, and let's play that for the folks. It goes and it shows you just a little bit more of the anger that's coming out of Uvalde and the surrounding communities. And they have every right to be angry. Trust me on this. They have every right to be angry. Pete Arredondo should have been fired a long, long time ago. He should have been fired, and he shouldn't even be given the option to step down. He should be fired, and he should be ran out of town. So let's play this little piece here. This is about 3 minutes, and this is just going to give you another look at the coverage. This is
and now
some
to
of the
Uvalde,
latest.
Texas, and the fiery public response to a report highlighting failures in the police response to that school shooting that killed 19 young children and 2 of their teachers. People filled the room at last night's school district meeting demanding that officials explain those mistakes and take responsibility. Lydia Luciano is in Uvalde, where she attended that meeting. Lydia, good morning. I saw one parent say every time we hear something, it re-triggers us. It like opens the pain up all over again. And what they heard yesterday was horrendous. Good morning to you.
That's right, Galen. Good morning. For many of those parents I talked to and I heard from, it was the first school board meeting that they attended. They say they had to do it. This community is in shock that School Police Chief Pete Arredondo is still on administrative leave. They want him fired, and they also called for the superintendent to step down. This community is ready for change, and they are angry.
You saw the videos. It's out there, and now we all know the truth.
That truth, spelled out in excruciating detail in a damning report by state lawmakers, brought an outraged community to Monday's Uvalde School District meeting.
What are you going to do to make sure I don't have to wait 77 minutes bleeding out on my classroom floor, just like my little sister did?
Raw grief, fear, and skepticism, including among Uvalde's youngest, like Maylee Taylor.
I don't want to go to your guys' school if they don't have protection.
The superintendent outlined
Josh, pause it for a
the
second.
district is.
So you just heard from two children, one young child and one small young child. And Josh, if you could cue that back to those two parts, you heard one younger child say that you failed my sister, you failed the children. And then you heard the younger one, 9 years old, say, I don't want to go to your school. These kids are all ruined for life. All of the kids that were in that building and in those surrounding areas, and children across the United States, for that matter, are affected by what happened. The inaction, the lack of safety. We got to do better. This is despicable and disgraceful, and I call it out as I see it all along. It's disgusting. Josh, if you could play that back, just listen closely to what these people say. It is horrific.
Uvalde School District meeting.
What are you going to do to make sure I don't have to wait 77 minutes bleeding out on my classroom floor, just like my little sister did?
Raw grief, fear, and skepticism, including among Uvalde's youngest, like Maylee Taylor.
I don't want to go to your guys' school if they don't have protection.
The superintendent outlined changes the district is making to protect students, from tightening school access points and adding more security cameras to hiring additional police officers. But many said the precautions are too little too late.
You hired trash. That's not right. I lost a loved one right here.
The state's investigation found that school administrators did not adequately.
You hired
the district
trash.
is making to protect students, from tightening school access points and adding more security cameras to hiring additional police officers.
This guy hits it on the head right here. He hits it right on the head.
Are too little too late.
You hired trash. That's not right. I lost a loved one right here.
The state's investigation found that school administrators did not adequately prepare for the risk of an armed intruder, pointing to faulty locks and relaxed security policies that gave the attacker unimpeded access to enter the classrooms.
You're the superintendent. You're top dog, correct?
Yes.
So you should know what's going on in your schools?
Correct.
Why don't you?
The report also concluded that the gunman likely murdered most of his victims before any responders set foot in the building, and that others may have survived if police hadn't assembled in a hallway waiting to act for an additional 73 minutes.
I feel like most of these meetings are pointless.
This was the first school board meeting for Jose Flores Sr. and Cynthia Herrera since their 10-year-old Jose Flores was killed. 2 days after the shooting, we spoke with his stepsister, 9-year-old survivor Andrea Herrera. The parents say Andrea is not returning to school until they see significant change.
I'm scared that it just might happen again.
And is it hard having to see all these officers around?
Well, I don't even focus on that. Everybody who was recorded in that video and ran the other way, they all need to be fired there. There's no point of having them there.
Stop it right there, Josh. Pause it. So she said, what's the point in having them there? They called 911 and they did nothing. This is this is so hard for me to even talk about this because number one, I'm a parent. Number two, I'm a human being. I care about saving lives. That's all I did for 20 years in the police department, is put my life on the line every day without even thinking of it. I said this to you guys countless times. Ed Wallace, myself, Joe Murray, Sergeant Bill Cannon, Lieutenant Pete here, all of us, Phil, everybody, all of people in law enforcement that I know, when shots were being fired and gunfire is out there, we're running towards it. When the World Trade Center was attacked and the buildings were crumbling, we ran towards those buildings. That's what you're supposed to do. 300 plus personnel on the scene in Uvalde, and not one person. You can't tell me not one guy or girl on that scene said, fuck this. I'm going in. I'm going in with my rifle and I'm taking this guy out. 77 minutes of inaction, of no activity. You can't tell me that's right. Josh, play the rest of this. I am so pissed right now. Oof.
Focus on that. Everybody who was recorded in that video and ran
Can you roll it back a little
they
bit?
all need to be fired. There's no point of having.
As it he's murdered, the club found that actions are superintendent community to merges the
You hired trash.
intruder, pointing to faulty locks and relaxed security policies that gave the attacker unimpeded access to enter the classrooms.
You're the superintendent. You're top dog, correct?
Yes.
So you should know what's going on in your schools.
Correct.
Why don't you?
The report also concluded that the gunman likely murdered most of his victims before any responders set foot in the building, and that others may have survived if police hadn't assembled in a hallway waiting to act for an additional 73 minutes.
I feel like most of these meetings are pointless.
This was the first school board meeting for Jose Flores Sr. and Cynthia Herrera since their 10-year-old Jose Flores was killed. 2 days after the shooting, we spoke with his stepsister, 9-year-old survivor Andrea Herrera. The parents say Andrea's not returning to school until they see significant change.
I'm scared that it just might happen again.
And is it hard having to see all these officers around?
Well, I don't even focus on that. Everybody who was recorded in that video and ran the other way, they all need to be fired. There's no point of having them there.
Superintendent Hal Harrell stood by the move to put Arredondo on leave. He said the board will use the findings from the committee investigating the shooting from those legislators to make a final decision. They did not say when that decision will come. Tony.
All right, Lilia, thank you very much.
Yeah, part of the frustration, I think, for these families is it's.
Thank you so much. Thanks for putting that on. RAS Illusion puts up a great comment. Disarming the good people only makes them easy targets. Now I'm going to bring you to another shooting that happened in Indiana at a shopping mall, and there was a hero, legally armed, good Samaritan, good citizen. Now, it's not the live stream that I'm doing highlighting that incident, but I have to bring it up because this comment was a great comment. And thank you, Wildzy Pony, for the $20 super sticker. Horrific, isn't it? Strong enough words for tiny kids bleeding out with war wounds. Oh, man. So that good Samaritan, that armed good Samaritan, and within 2 minutes, took out that gunman and shot him. He shot 3 people, but he had over 100 rounds of ammunition on him. If that good Samaritan wasn't there to take that shot and take that guy out, we would be talking about mass casualties. It's bad enough 3 people lost their lives in that shopping mall. But guess what? With him there, with him on the scene, that's a good guy with a gun. He took him out. He took that gunman out, and he wasn't able to do any more. He took him out with a headshot, I believe. So it's a conversation to have, and a lot of people are against it. But listen, I have my sidearm on me every day, all day. I cut the grass with it. I do take the garbage out to the curb with it. I bring it out with me into my backyard, and I don't bring it because I'm afraid. I bring it because I'm able to protect anybody and everybody I'm around. If right now in my peripheral vision a crime occurs, a crime goes down, I am springing into action. And I'm not thinking about my life. I'm thinking about saving the life. And I'm retired. I'm retired. And I still would spring into action. I've done it. I've sprung into action when there was people becoming victims of crime, and it was in my view, in my retired life. That's what we're supposed to do, you know? So, this stuff just gets me going. It gets my blood boiling. But I wanted to segue to tonight. So tonight I am going to bring to you, it's going to be a very great show because Cassie Carley, her sister, Rayanne Carley, she reached out to me, and we have been keeping in communication since April. We've been speaking back and forth. We've been communicating on text message, on social media. Rayanne Carley, that's Cassie Carley's sister, wants to keep her sister's name out there. She wants her story to be continually told. And right now, as you know, with all of the things and all the news that's going on, Cassie Carley is not being spoken about by anybody. You can't even go on YouTube or on the news and hear a story. The last story I was able to hear about Cassie Carley was from our great friend on WFLA Now, Hey JB. He was the last one to do a piece on Cassie Carley about waiting for the tox reports to come back from the Alabama coroner's office. So I am honored to have the victim's sister, Cassie Carley's is the victim. Her sister, Rayanne Carley, is going to be on with us tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to talk about her sister and the case and the Cassie Carley Foundation. And we're going to talk about the little baby sailor, Carley. She is left behind without a mother, but she is also someone who's going to have to live for the rest of her life knowing that her mother was taken from her at such a young age. We're going to talk about little baby sailor, this beautiful young girl, and we're going to talk tonight with Rayanne, and I hope that each and every one of you can join us to support, to, get around and continue the conversation with Rayanne, to talk about her sister, and any donation or super chat that comes in tonight will be given to the Cassie Carley Foundation and her sister Rayanne. So all of the fundage from tonight's live stream. So get your pocketbooks and your wallets ready. 9 p.m. Eastern. All of the funds that come in from that live stream, whether you want to send them by PayPal or super chats or however you decide to do that, it will be going to the Cassie Carley Foundation. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys coming in here. I have to get out of here. I got to get back in. So I want to just say God bless the world. God bless the United States of America, and God bless each and every one of us here in the chat, but especially all the victims of crime and their families across the globe. Guys, I'll see you tonight at 9 p.m. This is going to redirect to the 9 p.m. video. It's going to redirect, and we're going to get right to hitting the thumbs up, liking, subscribing, and all of that good stuff. We're going to go right over to the Cassie Carley's sister's video that we're going to be doing tonight. I'll see you guys all then. Love and respect from DutyRon. Talk to you on the next one. Peace, everybody. See you tonight. Thanks for joining.